You ever see a courtroom so quiet you could hear someone breathe from 30 feet away? That's what it felt like that morning, with every grown-up in their press suits looking down a skinny 9-year-old and waiting for me to mess up. I am my mother's lawyer. That's how I started. And man, you should have seen Judge Harrison's eyebrows. They shot up like he'd just heard thunder in a church. My mom, Janet, was next to me, gripping my hands so tight, almost laughed, except, it wasn't funny. Across the aisle, Robert Wellington, biological father, almost coughed up his coffee. And honestly, that was the first time I felt like maybe, just maybe, the adults didn't have all the power in the room. Sorry, young man, but I nodded, said, I know, Your Honor. But Article 12 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child says I have the right to share my opinion about what happens to me. I opened my battered notebook pages full of my scribbles, the kind teachers always say look like chicken scratch. For a second, the room got so quiet you could practically hear everyone thinking, is this really happening? Let me back up a sec. My mom worked 60 hours a week as a nursing assistant, barely scraping by. Robert? He was a real estate mogul, always showing up late, always with a fancy gift and an empty promise. I could count on one hand the times he'd bothered to see me. But here he was, suddenly wanting full custody, lawyers in $1,000 suits arguing he could offer me more. Dr. Mitchell, his main attorney, kept saying how this was highly irregular, as if quoting international law was cheating in court. I told him, if you really cared about my well-being, you'd listen to what I have to say instead of trying to shut me up. Yeah, that happened. Mom squeezed my shoulder, probably thinking I'd lose my nerve, but I kept going, looking straight at Robert. Your Honor, I've prepared a presentation with evidence about why I should stay with my mom and about the real reasons behind my father's sudden interest. At that, Robert went from smug to pale in about 2 seconds. He didn't say a word, but his lawyers were sweating, glancing at each other like someone had pulled the rug out. Judge Harrison was no rookie, but even he looked rattled. David, you say you have evidence. What kind? So I explained. For 3 months, every Tuesday and Thursday, I went to the library. Ms. Rodriguez, the head librarian, yeah, she's a hero in her own right, taught me to search public records, legal databases, you name it. My mom thought I was doing a school project, but really, I was fighting for us both. I found out about Robert's lawsuits, his business partners suing him, his latest wife filing for divorce, and the trust fund my grandmother set up, the one worth $1.7 million that only he could access if he got custody. That's when things started spinning out. Robert started to interrupt, but I shut him down, told him not to call me son. You've shown up 4 times in 9 years. 2 late birthdays, 1 Christmas when you had 20 minutes between parties, and once when you needed a charity photo. His face went blank, and I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. But there was more. See, my grandma Eleanor, she was smart. She put that money aside to protect me, not reward Robert. In her will, she made it so he could only get to it if he proved he cared. If not, I'd get it myself when I turned 18. Guess he thought he could game the system. But I had something he never expected. He'd a folder packed with documents and photos of his real business dealings. I laid them out, 17 lawsuits, stories of him buying up small family businesses when folks were at their lowest. There was even a photo of the Santos family immigrants who worked 18-hour days at their bakery, until Robert's bank buddy told him they were late on their loan, and he swooped in. The judge flipped through those papers, looking grimmer by the second. Where did you get all this? Public court records, newspaper archives, state databases. I answered, every source noted down, thanks to a mess. Rodriguez, she told me, the truth is almost always out there, you just need to know where to look. Dr. Mitchell tried to bring it back, said, none of this changed the fact that Robert could offer me better educational opportunities. That's when I pulled out my ace. About education, Your Honor, may I share Robert's true plans for me? I saw Robert's eyes go wide. I played the recording of phone call I'd overheard. He told someone, as soon as I get custody, the kid goes straight to Riverside Military Academy. $500 a month for boarding. The rest is mine. He'll never know about the money. My mom cried silently. Dr. Mitchell looked like he wanted to disappear. There's more, I said, playing another clip. The boy's too smart for his own good. Best to keep him out of the picture till he's 18. You know that feeling when the last mask drops? That's what it was like. Robert shouted, "This is a trap." He provoked me. I just asked. A 9-year-old can't defend himself, can't speak up, can't show the truth about a father who sees him as a problem to be solved. Judge Harrison hammered his gavel so hard I thought the desk would split. He denied Robert's request for custody, ordered an investigation into fraud, and had security walk Robert out head down. No more swagger. I told the court, I didn't do this for revenge. I did it because every child deserves a family that loves them for real. But you know what? The story didn't end there. That recording went viral, 50 million views, changes in the law, my story everywhere. Suddenly, I was on talk shows. My mom got promoted, the hospital started scholarships for single parents, and I started going to schools, talking to kids about their rights. I wrote a book, used the money to fund legal help for families like ours, and worked with MS. Rodriguez to create special library sections places kids could learn how to stand up for themselves, even if the world said they were too small. Meanwhile, Robert lost everything: his company, his reputation, spent time in prison, now working in an electronics store, watching me on TV every other week. But here's the thing, I never trash him in public. When asked, I just said, I hope he finds peace and learns you can't buy love. Maybe that hurt him more than anything I could have said. 6 months later, I got a letter from a girl named Sophia Martinez in LA. She'd use our library project to help her grandma avoid eviction. She wrote, "Thank you for teaching me that every child has a voice. I used mine and saved my family." That's when I knew this fight was bigger than just me and Mom. Harvard offered me a scholarship in law and social justice. I took it on one condition, that I could use my education to protect all kids, not just the ones lucky enough to have someone fight for them. Years later, when I became the youngest lawyer admitted to the bar, my first case was to make legal education mandatory in public schools. I won. Sometimes I think about Robert, living out his days in some apartment, thinking about the son he lost to his own greed. But that's not the real ending, is it? The real ending is that I turned my story into a legacy that helped thousands of families. That I proved intelligence, grit, and love are worth more than money or privilege. That sometimes the person the world underestimates the most becomes the one who changes everything. So now I want to hear from you. Was I right to do what I did? Should kids be able to speak up in court, or is that too much to ask? Drop your thoughts below. Justice isn't just for the powerful, it's for anyone willing to fight for it, no matter how small they are when they start.